Hey, everybody, welcome back. For those who are new, my name is Bernard. You can call me Bernie. And I have with me Dan from Latvia and Jamie from Taiwan. Today, we're going to talk about sports. And if maybe we have time, a little bit rambling about the English language. So, guys, when you grow up, do you remember the first sports activity you did?
Hi everyone. Let me
Sorry,
think.
I'm
Uh,
sorry. I was so that was so sad. My first. Yeah, Dan, you go
What?
ahead. You go ahead.
you can go ahead because I need time to remember. What was the first thing? Let me think.
My first tech. I shot my brother, and my brother shot me with a BB gun, and there was a lot of running involved, but that was not sports. My first team sports was rollerblading.
Yeah,
Mm, I had a lot of
going
first
back to that
things.
BB gun.
Huh? Sorry.
How old were you?
I was 5 or 6. We had those because in Asia we had those BB guns that it's airsoft, and then you need to reload every time you shoot.
I
Oh
think I
yeah, we
have
did
those.
them as well.
Like in the
I
early
have the
beginning,
pistol ones,
did you
and you could
guys?
you could shoot through a leaf with the BB gun, so that thing hurt.
Yes, it was like it would fully lodge into my skin, and so my brother wouldn't want our parents to find out. So every time after a good session, we would go home, get a toothpick, and then we start like just digging out all these BB bullets.
What the
That's
fuck?
crazy, man.
I'm sorry.
But that's a testament to how soft and malleable our skin were. Like I don't have any marks from that. Youth, man. That was a good time. Did you wait, Benny, did you guys have the it's a revolver, it's plastic, and then they give you this. I don't think it's
Yeah, we
gunpowder,
did.
it's like fireworks, right? It's you
Yes,
Yeah,
I
we
know
did.
exactly what you're talking about.
Oh my god. Okay, so my brother would put BB bullets in the barrel and then shoot it, but it wasn't that powerful.
Damn,
Cool. I
Wait,
that's
remember when I was
crazy.
a child, we were at this birthday celebration, and the entertainer had a revolver like that, but it had little plastic cones loaded in it, and they would actually shoot. And he had like a little shooting range for the children to shoot at balloons. And I was like, "This is the coolest gun ever! Like, where can I buy it?" But I never found anything like that.
oh my goodness.
How old
The
were you when you saw that? Then
Uh, Probably not more than five.
do you think that those experiences with the, and also this also goes for you, Jamie, like, do you think those experiences with like toy guns um shaped how you, like, the kind of games you like to play, or your how you outlook like the army or just guns in general?
Not
Do you think that
really,
had an
man.
effect?
Not really, man. If anything, I prefer like video games with swords and magic.
Hmm.
Shooters
I
are
w-
they're fine.
for me, I think it did. It either like steered me in that direction, or maybe it was just something that reinforced. No,
Enforced.
reinforced. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
This is the part
No
where Dan confesses to his joining of the Chechen revolutionaries.
way.
Dude, when I was 12, I got my first electric BB gun. And because at the time we were huge fans of Counter Strike, and I didn't know what the guns were called even in Chinese, or like in Chinese people just say AK-47. But because I only played Counter Strike, so I would go to the toy shop, like the gun store, and I'd be like, oh, I want the B41. That's the hotkey to for the Kalashnikovs.
Yeah, exactly. I all at first I called it the MP5 B32, I think.
Wait, so what was B35?
B35. Maybe it was the FM50.
I think so. Yeah. B
No,
B2
three was SMGs.
and B21. B22 is the semi-automatic shotgun thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, those are good times. Did you guys ever like so for us in Asia we have a lot of like internet cafes, and children would just go even though everybody in there, it's such an adult like environment because people are playing video games. You see kids in there, but you also see adults just watching porn, and you see
What the fuck?
yeah, and everybody was just smoking. Oh my goodness, when you go in there, it's as if like it's funny because people would joke about, oh, you want to, you smoke when you're a teen, and then you need to hide the smell of the secondhand smoke. But for us, like, we really didn't smoke, but we went to an internet cafe and we had to get rid of the smell of nicotine. But yeah, like going to these internet cafes, we would have like LAN Counter-Strike matches where one row would face the other row of enemies.
Well,
That's so cool.
I remember going to the internet cafes as well. Usually we would play either Counter-Strike or Dota at that time from the original one.
Ah,
But I don't, I mean, I walked around watching people play games and stuff, but I must be honest, I don't remember seeing anybody um, tugging on their appendages.
oh, we need to be careful with our with our language, but I did see somebody finish the business and then thereafter consumed his own product.
What the
It
hell,
was so messed
Jamie?
No
up.
way!
I
No
swear,
way!
I swear, like that was the most kind of like distinct memories me and my neighbor had, because we our brother took us there, and then we thought we were gonna have a good time, but instead we saw something traumatizing. Oh my god!
That's in,
But even then,
I
like,
must be honest. That sounds insane, bro.
like back then, because there was so much censoring, like the mosaic, the what do you call that? Yeah, the all the Japanese pornography,
Like
like
they blurred out.
yeah, it's all blurred out. You can't see anything anyway. Like everything's just blurred out. If I were to play that nowadays, it would have no views because everything was completely blurred.
Damn, that's insane.
But even then, that was so gross because I was always disgusted at how a lot of people just had, because back in those days people don't trim their pubic hair or armpit hair or anything, right? So people just, oh ugh, let's move on from this. We're supposed to talk about
Hold
sports.
on, hold on.
Yeah.
Do you want to continue discussing this, or do we want to go back to the topic of
Yeah. So
sports?
wait, BB guns are not technically sports. Okay, let's go back to sports.
I think
That's fair enough.
I think until the whole semen consumption and pubic hair, it was a perfectly great conversation.
It always happens. All right. Okay, wait, what did you guys play for sports? I had rollerblading.
I I remember I had rollerblading too, and I would say that some of the scars on my face are because my sister tricked me into having my eyes closed while I rollerblade down a steep slope.
How does one get tricked into doing that?
You had a lot of trust in your sister.
I had a lot of trust in my sister. She went first and had her eyes open, which I only found out after. And yeah, I trusted her. I kept my eyes closed. And when I opened my eyes at the end of the slope, I mean, I knew I had to turn right because there was a wall. It was like under the housing development board. You know what those are?
Not really sure.
Well, no, I'm not sure as well.
So in Singapore, there is this like how do I
Project,
say? Sorry.
projects, like housing projects, big
Yeah.
apartment buildings. Okay, I got it. But
Exactly.
what was that about the board?
That's just the name for it. That's just what they call it. And
Board.
housing development board apartments, because back then in Singapore, a little bit of history lessons, there were quite a bit of slums and they had a housing problem, so they decided to go the brutalistic Eastern European housing blocks approach, and then move the people out of the like slums into these very cheap, easily affordable uh, what's the
Apartments.
word? apartments. That's the one.
I
Yeah.
just think it's funny
Yeah.
that for these Singaporeans at the time that it was a big upgrade. There was nothing brutal about it.
Yes, that's true.
Right, like today in today's world, like most people are begging for government housing, but I don't think that's a thing anymore. It's just
Mm.
gotten so expensive.
Yeah.
There are
Well,
countries that still do it. I think Austria, for example, maybe not the whole country, but some of the bigger cities, the government makes and rents out apartments to the people, and of course the prices are subsidiary,
Oh yeah, yeah. So
subsidized.
Austria does this really
subsidized. Yeah,
well. What's
Yeah.
the capital of Austria? I forgot the name.
Vienna.
Uh,
Oh.
our geography failed us, but Austria
Vienna,
did this really
isn't it?
well. The government basically owns most of the properties in the capital city, and then thereby they were able to be the price setters. So they set the rent. So if you're a private property owner and you want to compete in the renting market, you're gonna have to price match, and that's how they keep like rent under relative control.
All right. That's
Yeah.
all right.
That's insane because if you think about it, Switzerland of all would have the money to do that, right? Because oh my god, okay, this is a big
I guess
tangent.
the
We're not
I
supposed to
guess the
complain
Swiss
about
have the money.
housing.
But getting back to sports,
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time telling what is the first thing because when I was a child, I would get sick really easy. And the usual
Yeah.
story with any sports for me was that I would start them and I would go there for like a couple of weeks, then I would get sick. I would be sick for like a week or two, and then when I come back, all of my peers are already advanced enough that I feel
Left out. Left.
yeah, I guess that's the way you can put it. And because of that, I would eventually just stop going there.
Yes, I
But I think,
remember you mentioned
the,
this story when we talked about the childhood.
yeah, and I think like the earliest thing I remember, at some point, one of my classmates went to do karate, and it sounded cool, so I also joined, and we were doing it like barefoot, and the floor was pretty cold, and maybe because of that, I got sick like after the first time, and yeah, that was my more or less first sports experience.
You know, it's funny you bring up karate because when I was in primary school, that was one of the first contact sports that I did as well.
Oh, cool! I guess it was pretty popular at that time.
Was it like an extracurricular class that you can take, or was it part of the school schedule?
No, it was like separate from the school. Actually, it happened in the school, but it was like a private thing. Like it was just a guy that wanted to do karate lessons, and he arranged a deal with the school that I guess you would rent out that like the gym class when it's free.
It would be so fun if I can go to Latvia now. Just being Asian, maybe I can convince people that I can teach karate.
Today, I think it'll be harder, but back then, for sure, you'll be a karate master without even mentioning that you're a karate master.
Oh man, the simple times back then. Did I even tell you that a lot of our English teachers back then, when I was in elementary school, we had most of our teachers were from America, from the UK, Scotland, and then there were some really cool people. But then among them were some Russians, and they spoke English without an accent. Like
Whoa.
it was because our school was very close to a local American school, and apparently he came to work in our school, and then few blocks down, he then after teaching at our school, he transferred to the American school, and then it was like a whole drama that apparently he has affiliations with Russia, which I was just like, how is that a problem though? Because what can you steal from an American educational school? Because we have those
Oh,
distinctions, right? We have the local schools, and then we have like actual American schools where locals could attend, but it's mostly for American citizens.
Hmm. Well, I guess most likely the American citizens, I mean, the children of the American citizens were like, what you call them? Not diplomats, ambassadors, right? That's the word.
I
Or
think
some military personnel.
at the time we had a lot of engineers, mechanical engineers from the States. So even when I was growing
Mm.
up, I had a lot of neighbors that they were half breeds, like like Bernard, half Taiwanese, half
Oh, sweet.
American.
Okay.
No, but
Untermensch.
it's a yeah, it was kind of like Ubermensch, yeah, because it was status symbol. People associate you being half white to be a good thing. Like
You're half good.
yeah, you're like more
Yeah, but
elegant.
it's true. It's true. There is a bias for white people in the Asian market.
Is it still though? I've heard it's at least going away.
No,
I think slowly the internet and the education and the realization that the fall of westernization, I would say, or the slowdown of westernization,
I
Mm.
is going away. I
but
think.
for my country, it's still there. I feel because the other day I saw there was like a news marquee. Like there was a headline that it rotates, and then one of the news marquee was that a half breed newborn baby was born too early and almost died. And then so it's just weird. Why would you
Oh,
mention that he's
really?
a half breed? You could just say that this baby was born too early and then nearly died. So then even
Yeah.
from just from this, I can tell there's some kind of prejudice. There's some kind of worshipping of European or well, yeah, European
Oh,
blood.
for me, that sounded like you see, if you mix races, your babies don't come out right.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
guess you
Right.
could
It seems more
interpret
like a
as
threat.
that. That's so messed up.
So, sorry, both of you spoke at the same time. I didn't get you.
What did Benny say?
I said it sounds a lot like a threat.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, that you did.
Like there's this whole thing in my country where in the early, I would say 70s all the way to the 90s, back then, I forgot which year it was, but it was the year after America had declared that the China that they're going to recognize is the modern day China and not Taiwan.
Mhm.
And because of that, we had so many American troops, stationed on our island, and there was a trend where a lot of these soldiers would have babies with local women, and then thereafter abandon them because they started recognizing the one true China, and then they had to leave. And so there was a
Oh.
time where we had a bunch of like uh these kids, they just look African American, and some of them just look white, and then they would dress in the most Taiwanese way, with a cigarette in their mouths, and then they would just come up to you and speak in complete fluent Taiwanese. It's really messed up.
Hmm.
But even then, I was such a racist child because I saw this black guy who could speak in perfect fluent Mandarin and Taiwanese, and then I asked my mother, "It's like, how can I speak like him to have rhythm? Because it sounded so musical."
Hmm.
That was early.
Interesting. I was expecting some a comment that would be much worse, but that
Oh
kind of
no, no,
sounded
no!
well and good.
I was a liberal since I was a child. Wait, let's go back to sports. Okay, you guys had karate. For us, karate is super common. Everybody would go, and then so if you want to stand out, you don't do karate. You do judo. You do there's another one. I
We
forgot
also
what's
had
it
judo.
called. And then there's the kendo as well. And I got banned from my kendo class.
Oh man, I
Did
wish I
you?
took judo when I had the chance.
Because it was a difficult class to get to, because if you want to participate in kendo, you need to rent or buy the equipment, and back then it was like it would easily come
What
down
is
to
even kendo?
It's like a wooden sword,
bamboo
Ah.
sword, the
like the
weight of the
Japanese
sword.
wooden sword thing. Yeah.
You have to spend like a
Mhm.
couple hundreds euros just to get equipment, and this was back in the early 2000s. That was a lot of money to invest. And so I
Yeah.
rented equipment from the class, and then we were just sparring, and I just remember I was such a dick of a child because I constantly fought my brother when I was a kid. I always fought my brother with like a PVC pipe, and I would treat it like a spear, and that was the way that I could fight the best. And then so when I got to the kendo class, I started holding these bamboo swords like spears, and I kept jabbing people in the eye, and then and then I got yelled at. I was reprimanded for that, and then I couldn't go to class.
But isn't that what you call a stab?
No,
Like a
but you
forward
you have
thrust?
to hit like particular areas. Men, dog,
Ah,
and something something. So the face,
boring.
the yeah, that was, and I thought that was bullshit. I was just like, but I can.
Shouldn't you wear masks?
Yeah,
Yeah, isn't there
we
like a
do.
map?
We do, but the handle of the handle of the sword is made of what's it called? It's the same, when you get hurt, you go to the hospital, if you break your arm, it's wrapped in that thing. It
It's
feels like
what?
concrete.
Gypsum?
Yeah, yeah, kind of. And then so the handle of the bamboo stick is incredibly hard, whereas the bamboo
Mm.
stick itself, the blade part, is soft and flexible. That's good for practicing. But I would stab
Mm.
people with the handle end because that was the sharpest, and
Wait,
it would just give them a big shock. And then I remembered
You bastard.
yeah, I had so many bruises, but I had so much fun. And then I couldn't go.
did you guys do any other contact sports?
Wait, let me think.
um, remember me and you, Bernard, did a little bit of kickboxing when
Yeah,
we were studying. That's pretty
that was
much it.
that
Oh
was the
no,
last contact sports
be,
I did.
before that, me and my friend, we decided to try doing boxing just on our own. We went
Oh.
outside in a place that was more or less secluded, and we just did boxing.
Did
And
you have any gear, or did you just like bare knuckle?
no, we had boxing gloves, and
Okay.
it was actually a very good way to start because I remember when we started first, we didn't know how to hit properly and stuff like that. But then after several times,
Mhm.
I noticed that we were much better than the first time.
Yeah, and also it probably helps you get over the fear of being hit.
True.
Yeah, because yeah, that is something that I feel like is instinctive.
Yeah, well, I
Like
mean,
if somebody like
you'll
Yeah,
naturally
I think I still
flinch.
need to work on it. Remember when we were studying together with you, Bernard? I mean, like training. There were people that were much more experienced, and when I was sparring with one of them, at one point I understood that, like I wouldn't say I was scared, but something close to it, and
yeah.
it really was in the way of me in training.
Mm.
I did a ton of not a ton, but I did a fair bit of a couple months of kickboxing after being broken up with, because my friend told me that that's the best way to get over a breakup is to get
Just to
sweaty and
unleash your anger.
yeah,
Yo,
yeah. And then so he would come because my friend teaches kickboxing. He's really good, and he would complain that he says I'm always flinching, trying to avoid being hit. And so the way
Mm.
he taught me not to flinch was to catch his fist with my face.
What?
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, there is a strat for that. Like, apparently, because in a full kickboxing match, you want to conserve energy, and when it gets to like the 5th or 6th minute mark, people are exhausted, right? So they don't really have that much wind up energy. So like a legit strat is before the punches were wound up, you get your head really close, and you take the punch before it's too strong. Like you
Yeah,
actually kind of like stopping them in their tracks. And
Mm.
and then he was saying that like all
yeah, but not
kickboxers
with your face, bro.
with
It's
your
with your
forehead,
forehead.
yeah, with your forehead.
Yeah.
But the thing is, apparently, like it's a very important skill. Like every skilled kickboxer needs to kind of like people have this misconception that you want to avoid attacks, but that's not really the case. Sometimes you need to know how to take an attack to
Yeah.
wear down your opponent. But I didn't.
Mm.
I did it just because I could train with a bunch of hot dudes. That was fun. But yeah, I trained for like almost 2 months, and then we have these foreign, like Southeast Asian workers in Taiwan, and they're usually from
Mhm.
Indonesia, from Thailand, and then so they come over with their tiny ass little bodies, and they're just a master at Muay Thai already, right? So if I punch, doesn't matter where I punch them, I feel like I'm beating a stick. It's so painful, and I got my ass kicked, and then I stopped going.
Mm. Well, yeah, yeah. I, you know what I realized after doing all these stuff, all these training,
Mm.
I realized that if your head get rattled enough, you start having like mental damage and like functionality issues.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And that's why I just decided, you know what? I'm fine. I don't need this.
But do you have that
Yeah.
much to
And that's
lose to begin with? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
whoa.
That was so mean. I'm sorry. No, no,
No,
no.
it's all good. It's all good. It's just friendly banter.
But
I mean,
I
hey, if you remember, like, there's so much scars on my head already that it's not gonna be that much more banged up. Oh, I
no.
use that as an excuse all the time. Like, oh, I hit my head so much that it's probably a couple of screws loose, right? And then um, my partner was like, you can't just keep using that as an excuse for everything. And I was like, I can, and I will.
You could even say that you keep using it as an excuse because your head is so banged up.
And it's also because I keep forgetting that I said it already.
And then, who are you again?
Oh man,
uh,
that reminds me of the time where I pretended to have Tourette syndrome when I was a kid. That was so mean, but I was immediately
It was
called.
just a way to insult random people.
Yeah, because I was watching South Park, and then I saw that on South Park, the character Eric Cartman, just he got away by pretending to be Tourette so he could curse at people. He would just say the worst things, and then I had so many teachers that I didn't like, so then I thought I could try the same thing. But man,
Wow.
wait, did you guys? Okay,
how
Did
did
so
did
it
it
work?
work?
no, it didn't because they knew I didn't. It's not hereditary, right? It's supposed to be a hereditary disease. But did you guys have this system in school where we call them? How do I call them? It's pronounced "guo," but it's like a mark. So if I do something very naughty, I would get one small mark, and three small marks would equate to one big mark. And if you have three big marks, you get expelled.
What? No,
Mhm.
I
You
just
got
get my ass beat,
Wait, you
as
guys
we
didn't
spoke
have any
about last time.
disciplinary, like no consequences? Like,
I mean, you would get you can get marks by doing or not doing assignments, but you can also get a mark for behavior. But
Mm.
uh, I've never heard anyone get expelled for it or
uh,
stuff like that.
Mm.
it's not like the scores you would get. It's like a record. So that if you do something very naughty, we have the same system from elementary to high school. So like if you do too many, problematic things, you get too many marks, you get expelled.
No, I must say for me, we get our ass beat as mentioned in the last episode, but there is no like tracking system. I guess it's more like if the teacher decides, you know what, he got enough of your shit.
Hmm.
What?
That's good. That's good. That means they don't give up on
Is it
children.
though? Is it though?
For us, like we always have this threat, right? Like we would say, our parents would say to us that if you keep messing things up, you're gonna have to join so we have different types of classes. There's the normal type of class, there's the advanced for elites. They're usually like in the first or second class in that grade. And then the very last, the very worst performers are sports oriented classes. So we call them a sports class. So because these students,
Mm.
they don't really study, they screw up on their tests, but they focus on sports, on on whichever sport they choose to master. And so we would constantly get this threat that even from a young age, that if you are stupid and not hardworking, you become an athlete.
You get
Yeah.
expelled. You have to go
For
to the
us,
Olympics. Oh no!
Mm.
It's like the gulag for you
for
guys.
us, for us, it was always the threat was if you don't like, you will become a street sweeper.
But what's wrong with
That was
that? We still need them.
that's the profession that was used as a threat all the time.
Yeah, and then do you remember Dan in school when we actually realized how much street sweepers get paid in Switzerland, and we were like, actually, I'm okay.
Yo, I had the same thing because for us, we would say that you will become a cashier at a grocery store. And then I went to Switzerland and then I realized, those ladies, those cashier ladies at Micros, they get paid a shit ton of money. I think it was 4,000 or 5,000 francs at the time.
Wow,
That was 2012.
Damn.
That's insane.
wow,
And then
that is insane. I didn't know.
Yeah.
they
The more important question is that before or after tax,
oh, I have no
like
idea.
How
brutto
much
or
is it?
netto?
How much tax would they
It's
have
not
to
tax.
pay for?
It's the deductions.
I would
Deductions.
imagine that they're on a lower tax bracket, surely. But I don't
With
know. That's still
5,000 francs?
but that's still an
I think that's
insane.
even good for Switzerland. No.
I think the 4,000 is like before reductions. So
Mm,
and usually after reductions is like
mm.
3,200 ish.
After reductions, it's like 300.
This is why, like at the
So
time,
sorry, I completely missed. How much was it after tax?
Like 3,200.
Oh, all right, it's not too bad.
No,
Not
no,
even
it's
half.
it's
it also
still
depends on like how much you're paying for rent though.
no, but
Oh,
then
did you include rent in there?
No.
Okay.
Because then you'll have to start cutting out of rent if you're living alone. But Jamie's talking about older ladies, so they're probably married, right?
they probably have a house, and then I was just comparing them to the grocery store, workers in Taiwan. Whereas in Taiwan, they are so fast. They'll check out your things, they'll bag your stuff, they'll check you out, and then with really good and succinct service. But then my first time in Migros, these ladies have so much attitude, they don't even care. They're just like, oh, okay, and then they take their sweet time. And I was just wondering, how is it? It's so unfair that people in Asia are slaving away for one third of her pay, and then she gets off at 4 o'clock. What kind of? It didn't make any sense. Like for going from Asia to
Yeah.
Europe, the I didn't realize stores would close at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Sundays, and that was just the biggest
Well,
bullshit.
well, if it makes you feel any better, here people also they have the Swiss service, or even worse, but they also get paid like in Taiwan, or maybe even worse.
Yeah, when I was in Latvia, a lot of the grocery store attendants they seemed really unhappy, and then because I was with your wife then, and then
We just
she's
have a resting bitch face,
yeah,
probably.
but then your wife was so positive. She was just like, oh, she was being lovely, and then these ladies they were not having any of it. They were just they were full on bitch mode, and then
Well, because both me and my wife, we lived in US for a while, and we kind of brought over that attitude here.
oh yeah, that's a question I wanted to ask you guys. Like, do you guys feel like having that service part of your life makes you just generally like a really pleasant?
I
'Cause
to be honest, when I came back, I had like a reverse cultural shock.
me too. Oh my goodness.
It took me time to adapt again.
Because it's so conversational in America. Like you would just talk to people, and then I would come back home, and then when we check out things at a grocery store or a 7-Eleven, like a convenience store, we don't say anything. You just go in, you pay, and then you leave. You don't talk to
I
them.
mean, you say hello, thank you, but it's all very formal and
Yeah,
just
yeah. But in
and
the
it's not
States,
even obligatory, of course.
yeah, but when I was in the States, like I would always like flirt with with the store attendants. Like I remember going to Hot Topic. It's like an emo punk store, and then you would just have full on conversations. You would vibe, with the store attendants, and then
Nice.
and going to restaurants are the worst because you're expected to tip, and so they're so super nice to you. I hated that.
You hate tipping?
I don't like the idea of tipping. I like to know that they're well compensated for the work. I'm used to the kind of like Taiwanese service. Like people just come to your desk and then they drop you your food. So like the whole learning, like the French fine dining, serving from the left, serving from the right. That doesn't make any sense to me because in Taiwan, people serve over your head. They just drop like a pot of soup there, and then you take it.
Slide it on the table.
Exactly. Oh, wait, we were talking about sports. Let's get back. So
Yeah, yeah. So besides karate, do you do anything else then?
Swimming. I had some
Oh,
swimming when I
swimming.
was a teenager. It was
Yeah.
actually longer than one day, maybe a month, and it was going very well. But then after I got sick, as usual, I kind of just like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Hmm.
But I was lucky because usually the path is that you go to swimming classes and then you can get transferred to the sports swimming classes. But the trainer checked how I was swimming and he said, you know what? You can go straight away to the sports swimming classes.
oh
I was
wow.
like, wow, that's so cool.
Hmm.
Dude, I'm really good at swimming, and when I was in sixth grade, I was a chubby little kid, and I had no body hair. I was very smooth, and on the school team, they call me the dolphin.
Do you think that made you more what do you call it? Not aerodynamic, but hydrodynamic?
Yes, definitely. I have to say, like the moment I got really good at swimming was because we would travel to Thailand, and then there are these water sports you can pay. So in Thailand, you can go to the beach, and then they have this thing called the banana boat, and then you get on this inflated boat, and basically a guy on a
Jet ski.
yeah, jet ski. They take you out. They drift. They do this crazy stuff, right? And then sometimes you get spin, like you would get spun off. You would fall off the boat, and then the
Mhm.
idea is that they wait for you to get back on, and then they go back. And then I was by myself with a Chinese tour group, and they
Mhm.
didn't realize I was off the boat, and then so they went back. But thankfully, I wasn't too far from the shorelines, so I had to start swimming back. And then I thought to myself, hey, I'll
Dang.
Wow.
I'll be very calm, but the waves are very
Jamie, you're
calm.
gone.
No, but like yeah, they didn't realize I was gone. I was so mad, and then I thought I could take my sweet time, right? I was just like, oh, I'll follow
Yeah.
the waves. I'll go very slowly, and then I dip my head into the water, and then I turn back. It was a fucking shock. It wasn't big, but it was a
Oh fuck.
shock. It was like I forgot the species.
Whoa.
Apparently, it's not even like a dangerous shark. It's like a filter feeding shark of some kind. But I was so
Like
scared.
a
I
whale
didn't
shark?
know. It wasn't that big though. It was some kind of like tofu shark or something. It was brown. It had like these brown
Oh
spots.
food.
But that's
Okay.
I think that experience gave me thalassophobia. Like I have a proper
Oh.
fear of the ocean. If you drop me in the middle of the ocean surrounded by these giant freaks, I get so scared. But yeah,
Damn.
from that I got really fast at swimming.
There- there's two things I want to ask. One is a statement and one is a question. First off, is that one of my irrational fears is swimming pool shark.
Oh, I had those
Like,
too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like,
yeah.
especially if it's
and
like a
and
dark swimming pool.
yeah, but I never seen a dark swimming pool before. But that was one of my irrational fears.
Mhm.
And also, secondly, did you play the game called Subnautica?
Oh, I
A
did, I
little
did.
bit.
Yeah, yeah, some Nautica. But video games are fine. Like you feel a separation, but then even then, like, I don't know. Like Subnautica would be a lot scarier if they used like realistic sea creatures for some reason. Like the
Mm.
fantastical nature takes away the fear. But I would go to these swimming pools in the dark because like it's in our neighborhood compound and there's never enough light. So it's always really
Mhm.
dim and dark at the end. So I would make a lap and then on my way back, I would speed up because it's so scary. Excuse me.
Oh.
But yeah, swimming's fun. Swimming's nice. I recently took up swimming again after my gym sessions, and it really wears
Mhm.
you out. Like it really fortifies your
It's a
like,
full body exercise. Yeah.
it's so good for your lung capacity as well. It's insane. Like just after 2 days, I would go from like the first time I went back to swim after years of not swimming, I could not breathe. I couldn't catch up with my breath. But just 2 days right after 2 days of swimming, I'm back to normal. and it's really nice. Like you learn to hold your breath and all that stuff.
Yeah, I really
I
miss
love to
swimming.
swim.
But yeah,
A couple of years ago, me and some friends and my wife, we went to Greece, and the water was always really warm, so we would swim a lot. And I actually took what do you call them? I forgot. The things you put on your feet, and they make them like
Flipper.
doesn't sound right. It's like
The one which
a
make you
fin
swim
for
faster.
humans.
yeah, flippers.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think yeah, flippers.
Oh, they're called flippers. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
So a flipper, and I had this really nice mask. It covers your whole face, and it has a tube sticking out up, and it's much better than the classical ones because you can dive with it, and it's easy. It's really easy to breathe through it. I
Okay.
didn't know. I didn't know that, but you know, the tube has like this little ball thingy in it, and it's really useful because you can dive with it, and then it kind of shuts off the tube. So when you get that back up, you can continue breathing. But with all the classical stuff, if you inhale too fast, that ball also gets stuck. And so
Oh,
you you have to, you want to breathe, but you have to take your time. You cannot breathe too fast, or that thing will get stuck. But with the newer one that covers your whole face, it didn't have that problem. So it's like perfect, like a
oh, I
fish
love
in the
those.
water. I loved it.
They're called
Oh,
snorkeling masks. I love
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
snorkeling is fun. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the three of us should one day hope that we can go on a vacation where we could swim. That would be so nice.
Oh
you
yeah.
have you guys ever been diving?
Like scuba diving.
Once I did
Yeah.
once. Yes,
How was it? Did you enjoy it?
I liked it. And the guy that was the instructor, he told me, like when we finished, he was like, "Did you ever did this before?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Mister, no problem at all."
Oh,
Nice.
Mr.
Basically, he
No
was
Problem.
happy. He was happy with how uh, it turned out.
That's
Man,
great.
I feel like I'm bragging. Sorry.
No, it's
no.
good. We should. I think we should be able. We should learn also to be proud of our achievements because I feel like sometimes we're too. I mean, in general, people in general. I know there is like narcissism, right? There is narcissism, but I think you should be able to also be proud of your achievements.
I feel
It's
like
like it's like when somebody gives you a compliment. We're so unused to getting compliments that when we get one, we're like, nah, no, no, you're just being nice. But it's a compliment. It's like somebody gives you a gift and you're like, no, 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 you're trying to bribe me. It's like what? No, just
dude,
say thank you.
but
You
that's
know.
totally me because like
Yeah.
coming from like an Asian background, I think you and I both would struggle with compliments. I would literally irk, like I would feel very uncomfortable.
I had to learn to just accept and say thank you. Like
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
push it away. Like yeah.
I think we get
I
adjusted to
also
it.
Yeah.
had
Like,
that.
yeah, like after your teenage years, it becomes a lot easier because you just, it's okay. I'm vibing. I'm good. But yeah, my
I'm okay. And that's okay.
but my scuba diving was a terrible experience. Not like dance, because
Oh.
we would go to the we would scuba dive along the coastlines on the east coast of Taiwan, where we have a lot of these I don't know how you call them, these rock formations, and you dive in between rocks. So like literally on the beach, there's no
Mhm.
sand, it's just rocks, right? Like it's these really super sharp rocks that you're not supposed to walk on them barefoot. And every now and then you'll see
Mm.
like a really tiny hole, and then you just see people jump into it. And you can dive down,
What?
and it's like a underground maze. And I freaked out because with the whole class, like it was just a couple of people, and mostly old people. I was the only young boy. I dove down and I saw a sea snake, like a striped black and white sea snake. I was so scared, and I lost my
Oh,
bearings. I
man.
lost my direction, and I couldn't find. There's like a
Oh.
string you're supposed to hold on to, and I couldn't find it. And I thought I
What?
was gonna die. I was so scared.
Whoa, that is a
That's
up
the crazy
experience.
story.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's their fault. Like, why would you market that as a beginner's lesson? I feel like diving down into an underground maze should seem like a very advanced lesson.
It
Yeah,
does not
true.
sound like a beginner thing, to be honest.
Oh man. Oh, anyway, I to this day I still if I can avoid it, I don't want to go scuba diving.
That's not how I
Oh.
learned scuba diving. We started in a pool,
Yeah,
like in
that's
a
supposed to
swimming pool.
that's how you're supposed to do, I think.
Yeah. I think you just had the hardcore version.
Yeah.
Man, right.
You did it on extreme mode.
It was so messed up. Speaking of, okay, wait, get back to getting back to sports. I had
I mean, diving is sports, so it's fair.
true, true. When I was in third grade in elementary school, I had a severe fascination with female wrestling.
What?
Hmm.
It's
What does it?
WWE, women's wrestling something something. So like it was on HBO. It was on a channel, and then you would see all these women in the most obscene outfits. Some would be like a full panther suit, some would have crazy hair, and they have the
Huh.
craziest stories ever. Like it's about, oh, you slept with who, like because it's both men and women, and it's very dramatic. There's a lot of drama involved, and then they would do these craziest wrestling moves. And then I got so into it, I started my own wrestling club in the class, and I think it was mostly with gay students. Like I obviously we didn't know we were gay back then, but most of the guys that loved it. I told you guys about that crazy guy that chased after a teacher with a box cutter. He was
Yeah.
the club leader because he loved that shit. And then so we would have the craziest outfits. Like we would go and borrow these props from our drama classroom, and then a lot of people were making fun of us because he was very effeminate. So if you were his friend, people thought you were sissies. But then and then they saw us
Mm.
engaging in the craziest wrestling matches where I was doing there's a thing called bullet kicks, where you jump up, you use the entirety of your body's weight, and you kick with both your legs. And that was really really
Isn't it
messed.
called the drop kick?
Oh, drop kick, yes, sorry. And then
Yeah.
uh, and then we would just do this crazy stuff. And I remember that I was practicing a move where you would use your biceps. Like so, you would raise your arm with your biceps up. You would run towards a person, and you basically knock them over. You hit their face with your biceps, right? And then it's like I forgot what the move is called.
Isn't that like called the clothesline or something like that?
I think so, yeah. And then I went after like a very timid, skinny boy in my class, and I was chubby, I was heavy, and so I ran him over. And then that day I got sent back home.
Dang.
But I had my
Dang.
wrestling phase. Did you guys wrestle?
Yeah, I did.
I think a little bit. Not much, to be honest. I couldn't even call it a phase. I just remember like random separate instances, I guess.
Wait, but
Yeah.
it's
And I
not
think
like
it was mostly initiated by the other person.
wait. I mean, like wrestling, like class wrestling, where you wear that really
Oh no, no.
homoerotic
I, I,
outfit.
I was thinking like no.
I love those. For
No,
some
I
reason.
meant wrestling as in like I saw WWE on TV and then
Oh,
Oh, Bernard dropped.
he's back.
hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you, Bernard. I can hear you, Jamie.
Oh, I can hear you too. I think something
Oh
about
no, he's gone again.
something about WWE and Discord cut him off. Maybe he's about to release State Secret. This reminds me of the time, that there was this guy who oh Benny's gone. But do you remember this young guy who leaked Pentagon secrets on Discord?
Was it something about tanks?
No, I forgot what it was about, but it was a young man, like he was 21 or something, and he leaked full on, government documents on Discord. And I think this happened to him. Like he was muted all of a sudden.
Oh, you mean the World of Tanks guy?
I think so, yeah. Oh, you're back.
Yes, I am.
Okay, you were saying WWE.
Yes. we were watching WWE as a kid, and we just decided to do the same. You know, we were doing chokeholds on each other, and yeah, slapping each other, punching each other.
Oh my goodness.
Mm.
My
Even
brother
even when it said on that show, like, "Do not try this at home," it's like, hell yeah, we're gonna try it.
my brother did the worst move on me. It's where he would lift me up entirely, and then he would drop me down, but except for dropping me down on the bed, he would, he would raise one of his legs, like, like he would kneel down, and so I would fall down with my back hitting his knee, like his
Oh
leg.
shit, the backbreaker.
Yes, the backbreaker, and then like he did that on me. It was
Ah,
so
damn.
painful. Yeah, like, oh, I still don't know how we managed to survive that. But yeah, I was talking about wrestling because one of the earliest records of human history, I think it was a Paleolithic painting on a rock wall somewhere in China, I think, depicted that humans have been wrestling since, 20,000 years ago.
I
Can't
imagine.
say I am surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the only thing you could
But
have
for some
done.
reason, my brain went into they're just guys who wanted to touch other guys without being without being marked as weird. So they just, oh, we're doing a sport. It's called wrestling.
I doubt that. You know the funny thing, right? Like the funny thing about this is that in ancient Greece, people used to associate like, oh, ancient Greece is just one big civilization, and then they all have the same interpretation of ancient homosexuality as a practice, not as a sexual preference. But the truth is everybody like Athens and then the Sparta, like all the independent Greek states had their own kind of like customs. And in Athens, I think it was one where an older male is always seeking out for like a young boy to mentor, and then they obviously become sexual.
Oh god.
But one of the things they have to do is that they need to go and wrestle them away. It's like an initiation. So so imagine if three of us are friends, where we're young boys, and then one guy had his eyes on Bernard. That man would have to come and tell me and Dan, and we wouldn't say anything, but me and Dan would start discussing. We would literally start thinking, is this guy good enough for Bernard? So if he is good enough, we let him wrestle you away. But if we think he's not good enough, we will protect you. We will prevent him from wrestling you away. And plus, they
I
they did it in the full nude as well. That's insane.
didn't they lather themselves up in olive oil or something?
No. You're thinking about Turkish wrestling, I think. But yeah, in, in
Oh,
in ancient Greece, like wrestling was done in the gymnasium, and you had to be fully nude. And the like, it's so strange to think about it because like all these young boys are kind of like risk of unworthy men coming after them. So they're kind of like these stuck up, hot girls of today's world, like on TikTok, like, oh, no man is good enough for me. That kind of sentiment. And then whenever they wrestle in the nude, then they would go sit down somewhere to rest, and when they stand back up they have to like wipe away their butt prints so then they wouldn't arouse unworthy old men.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, for that reason you don't want to have too much grease on your body.
What would they even grease themselves up for and with?
They don't even have to. I feel like you would just sweat enough. Like Greece is a temperate climate, right? So it's hot enough. But yeah, wrestling was a big part of it. Wrestling is also a big part of a Spartan child growing up, and I guess we've just been wrestling. And then the second oldest, it was wrestling and boxing, and then one of the oldest sports is football, and I think it was started in China, where they, instead of using a ball, they used their enemies' heads to play football.
Oh my
That
god.
sounds messed up.
Yeah, in
Hey,
Chinese
give
it's
me a sec.
called cuju, which is a very poetic name to call a sport you basically kick around a dead head.
It is. Well, I mean, what did I say it is? I don't know what that means.
What about like Eastern Europe? What were some of the earliest sports in Eastern Europe?
The earliest? I'm not sure. I don't know. Let me think.
Hmm.
Do I even remember anything?
Back in the Kievan Rus days,
I don't.
you guys were just drinking a lot.
I
And then
don't think so. I think the whole drinking a lot came from the Soviet times.
no, but like I read somewhere that one of the founders of, I forgot what's it called, but I was reading up on Kievan Rus, and then there was this in the 1200s. There was this literal king that were in present day Vilnius, which is Estonia. But then like
No, it's Lithuania.
oh, Lithuania. And then he was literally deciding for a good religion for the Kievan Rus. Like he was deciding, okay, what kind of religion would be good. And then literally, he was introduced to like, to Islam, Judaism, among other religions. And he literally rejected, Islam because they couldn't drink vodka.
I think I've heard something like that. Not sure if it's true though.
Yeah, it could be just like a folklore. Anyway, back to sports. What about you, Benny?
What about me?
What did you play football? Because you went to a
I
British all boys school.
what? It's not British all boys school. It was a Catholic all boys school.
That was in Britain?
No, it was in Singapore.
Oh, so when you went to the UK, it was just a normal school.
Yeah, and they were mixed. And I remember I had a fear of women at the point at the start because I was so I didn't interact with them or just girls at this and in general. I didn't interact them with them for a very long time, like 8 years. Besides my sister and my mom,
Don't you have other
so I was like,
relatives or like just people you would run into?
yeah, but it's not the same because these guys are family, and then the others are like strangers.
Huh.
And I remember I don't know if I mentioned it last episode, but I remember I would have a distinct fear that if I actually accidentally bump into a girl like along the hallway, I
Hmm.
would be afraid that they would think that I'm trying to inappropriately touch them or something, and then they will shout it out, and then oh no, I'm gonna go to jail, and then my whole life is gonna be messed up. But that was a legit fear. Like I'm not even like trying to make a joke out of it or whatever.
I mean,
I legit thought that.
in your
Oh,
defense,
wow.
British teenage girls are kind of scary.
I think it was just girls in general. It could have been Asian girls, and I would think I would still have that fear.
That's so ironic.
But thankfully, it didn't last long. I realized they're not crazy people, and that they're actually quite the same like us guys.
You went through your
But anyway,
own,
sports.
yeah.
Yeah, sports. I did play football a bit. I remember in my secondary school,
Hmm.
we had this program where you need to get enough points to reach, and if you have points, then you can apply for uni.
Mm.
And one way to supplement the points, I don't remember what it's called, like ETS score or CTS points or some shit like that. It's and I remember I took up air rifle,
Mm.
and usually you only need one, but I took up two after school curriculums. One of them was, as mentioned, air rifle. The other one was a librarian because I used to like reading books.
So
So
cute. Oh my god. I'm so glad I didn't meet you in high school. I would have the biggest crush. This is insane. The duality of a man.
yeah, so you can imagine me like on some days I'll be going to this air rifle range, like
Hmm.
putting these pellets down range, trying to practice on my grouping. And then some other days I'll be just sitting. It's crazy because the first year that I was at the library, like helping in the library, they kind of used me as a security guard. Like I would just sit there will be this stool, like a chair and a table you're kind of like, you know, in bars you have the guys that take the jackets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing that. Like people would come with their bags. They'll have to leave their bags like outside, and I would just like have to make sure like nobody tried to smuggle any books out, and give the right bag to the right person,
Oh my
and make
god.
sure nobody tries to steal bags and stuff. And I was thinking like, I thought I'm here to be like check books out and stuff, you know? This is
You
not what a librarian does. This
ended
is
up
more like a security guard.
free labor for them. Oh my goodness. I'm just so happy I didn't meet you back then because I had a thing for like, okay, I don't mean this as an insult, but I love it. Like, I couldn't resist somebody who is just so. Okay. Wait, wait, wait.
Say it.
I
Just
can't take
say
it
it.
back now. I need to find a way. Okay, so it
Just say
was
it, man. Just say it straight.
okay. It was kind of like loser-ish behavior, but no, but it's still cute. But like it's loserish behavior. But then on the other hand, you also do rifling, so it's that contrast, you know. So that he does it's kind of like, oh, you know, you love to make figurines, but on the other hand, you play football, that kind of stuff. Oh, that was so hot. But yeah, I'm glad I
That
didn't.
that the cool nerd kind of thing.
Yeah, my goodness, I would
Like
have written fan
I'm a good
fictions about
boy,
you.
but I was in a gang.
Exactly. Wait, did you guys
Yeah.
play airsoft? Speaking of air guns, like, did you guys play airsoft?
Mm,
I did.
not. I know Dan did. I remember he was active in that. I remember going paintballing like once or twice, or was it three times? I remember we went together. Jamie, were you with us when we went paintballing?
You didn't invite me.
It was a
What
school
do you
trip.
mean?
Yeah, you didn't. I don't think
You,
you
But
guys.
he was making our personal invitation.
Wait, but when was this? When did you guys go
it,
paintballing?
it's in 8 a.m.
In the uni, at one point
Yeah,
we got an email like, "Do you all guys want to go paintballing?"
yeah.
I
There's an
did.
event organized by the school.
I did go paintballing, but it wasn't with you. I'm sure because
Oh,
I
so we're not cool
Interesting.
enough for you to join us then, huh?
no, I think it was because I joined the other second year group.
That is true. You
Ah,
were in a different semester after the first year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really didn't like those people. It was so weird.
What did you not like about them?
I don't know. There was just this guy who was he's like he's just I don't know if he was bullying me, but like he was just I don't even know. Like he would come say hi and then he would just gently rub my shoulders and then on the other times he would just pretend he doesn't even know me. And then
Okay, that sounds like sexual harassment.
yeah, he's half Malaysian, half Singaporean, which is why I have a stern hatred for people from those areas now. And we
Well, I'm
had
sorry.
no. And then there's this Russian girl, and she was so mean. Like she hated me for some reason. Like she's like one of those. She's like the Swedish girls in class, and then so she has to be excellent at everything. She needs to raise her hands, you know, answer questions, and then little did she know how inconsequential those knowledge had become. But she just
Mm.
didn't like me, and so I thought I would go have fun, just play some paintballing. Um, and I just remembered people were bullying. There was this really tall Estonian guy, and he was just being shot the whole time.
Oof. Did he stand out in the open a lot?
Kinda, but he was very tall. Like he was 190 something centimeters tall, and he was lanky, kind of tall. Always wears like a jean shorts, and then so then I asked him, why would you wear shorts to a paintball match? And he didn't. He just
Not
said
the
he
it's
best.
like the pain makes me feel alive.
yeah. Uh, and he didn't say anything. He just said he didn't know, and then I just thought, wow, this guy is hot. And then that right there was when I realized my mental health was on a quick decline. In second year, so I had to
because
quit.
because you're attracted to people who wear shorts.
I was attracted to all kinds of people. It was weird. It was like I was in heat. Like anything, like the weirdest thing, right? Like you could trip and fall on the staircase and make a fool of yourself, and I would somehow find that romantic and beautiful. And that was messed up. So I had to quit and I had to leave Europe and a year long hiatus in in Taiwan set me back straight. I had to go to like a Buddhist temple to pray.
Damn. Um,
Which is it's so weird. I don't know. But yeah. Wait, back to airsoft. Did I tell you guys about the ghost story of my airsoft days?
no, but I'm still kind of hung up
Go.
on what you said earlier. Sorry.
About what?
I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm not trying to make light of it, but like, were you watching a lot of Korean dramas or whatever?
No, I was watching a lot of American and British dramas, and then I remembered at the beginning of the first year, that was when you and Dan, like you guys had all gone off to your internship or something. And then I just remembered there was one day I called Dan. We had a chat. I forgot what we talked about, and then I was just like, oh, why was I so attracted to Dan? And I felt so weird. I felt it was wrong almost. Um, and then so that spiraled out. Like from that point on, I tried keep shifting my attention to other people, and so really it's Dan's fault. So you know, I
It
had to.
Well,
is.
to be fair, Dan is an attractive man.
He is. I have to say, like
Oh
Dan has
my.
this. Dan has this.
Who is this then? Tell me more.
Right. Like it's very charismatic, very peaceful. If I think about it, it makes
Yeah,
sense because like when your life is
he's like,
chaotic, you want someone peaceful. But anyway,
yeah, he got this deep voice, and he's like 2 meters tall, I think. Is
I
he?
don't know what you're talking about.
He's got a very calm demeanor. Yeah.
for me, it was none of that.
Oh,
It was
guys,
because
but
Dan's hair felt like
seriously,
penguin hair.
that's so nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's all good.
Because of what?
Because your hair felt like penguin hair. That's the first thing I told you in
Oh
life.
yeah,
I
your
was
hair
just
was
like,
so soft too.
I remember you would bring it up a lot, and it was cool. You know, people were like, "Oh, let me touch your hair."
Yeah, you had golden retriever energy. You would always have like interesting random fun facts and shit.
Really? Well, I
Yeah.
didn't know. I didn't know I did that.
but I do see the dark side of Dan. Like that was also quite attractive. Like I felt
The
like
dark side of them, double D dark.
yeah,
Dang.
I felt like under that kind of like sunny golden retriever energy facade, you were always trying to replace things to improve upon it. Like you were trying to improve your life almost, and I thought that was kind of dark and kind of
Isn't that a good
sexy.
thing? Like, trying to improve your life is not a dark thing. It's a good thing.
No, I think you lost Jamie, but in the beginning he said it better. Like I do have this desire to keep replacing and changing stuff. Like nothing is good enough, I guess.
Yeah, I felt
Yeah,
like you
I
could.
mean, I lived
The
with you for
healthiest
2 semesters.
thing. Did I
You
try to
had your
replace
random
you?
outbursts too. I remember sometimes I would call my parents, and you would be like, after the call, you'd be like, "Why are you doing that? Can you stop that?" And I was like, I would be so confused. Like, what? Talking to
Can
my
you stop?
parents?
Can you stop calling your parents?
Yeah, exactly. I was confused. I was like, "What? Talking to my parents?" And apparently, I was subconsciously speaking in a different way with them, which annoyed you.
I'm so jealous. Dan was never mad at me.
I remember what it was because you speak with your parents like they're toddlers, like "Hello, mommy," or like kind of like that. But
Oh,
today, I don't know. I don't find like I still think it's a bit unusual, but like now when I think about it, it doesn't annoy me. But back then, for some reason, it annoyed me. Sorry.
Was I the toddler, or were I speaking to them like they were the
You
toddler?
were speaking to them like you're 5 or even younger, you know, like "Hello, mommy." And I was like,
I don't think I
why?
do that anymore.
It's so weird.
what?
And to
How have
your point,
I have never
to your
witnessed that. That's so weird.
point.
Because I'm pretty sure, Benny, I have spoken to you on a call where you spoke to your parents, but I never noticed that.
Yes, I think I stopped it. I think the whole incident with Michelle changed the dynamic a
Right.
lot.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm not sure if this is something you can talk about here. But I'm
She was my
interested.
ex.
I'm
Well,
intrigued.
well,
I
Yeah.
remember.
we
She
should
was my
have
ex, but we're talking about sports.
that.
It
Yeah,
was a
that's
Yeah.
big, it was a very big, pivotal, life-altering situation.
dude. Okay, wait. I
Yeah.
need to tell you
Yeah.
about my airsoft experience with it was my last match of airsoft because after that I was so traumatized I wouldn't want to go back. I
No.
remembered at
Oh.
back then it was my first internship during that time because I had
Mhm.
come back to Taiwan and I got myself like an electric powered Chris Vector because I was obsessed with Switzerland. So I wanted a Swiss SMG. That was so cool. I had a really sweet gun. And then we played Capture the Flag. And then I remember it was too hot, so then we had to move to another site, which is this abandoned village that were used to be inhabited by war veterans, and they were just kind of abandoned. Like people kind of just died out in those villages, and then so yeah, it became like a ruin. And then I remember it was elimination. It was a foggy morning. It was 6 a.m. Because in Taiwan, like the summer is so hot, nobody wants to play out, in outside when the sun is up. So we
Makes sense.
play super early in the morning. And I just remembered it was so hectic. We were doing like a lot of guerrilla warfare. I was running everywhere, and I was a small kid, so I felt like I had an advantage. I could dodge the bullets. Um, and then when it came down to the end, because we had a group of 6 people, and I don't know them, and I just remember there was this guy maybe in his late 20s, was very nice. Didn't speak much. He had like a full gear, and then till the end, like when we fought, we eventually I won, and it was just me and him, and I was so happy because I never won a tournament before. Uh, but it was mostly him doing
Cool.
it was mostly him, right? Because I kind of just hid, I had a few sneaky kills. Um, I employed the full Counter-Strike tactic. I would crouch up and hide in the corner, and they were so
Fair enough.
pissed with me. So when that's all when that's done, like when you get shot, you raise your arm, you put your gun up, and then you walk out of the venue. And it's a bit of a walk
Yeah.
because like it's on a hill, so you have to go down the hill. And so when everything's done, there was a whistle, and then I knew the match was over. I walked down with this guy, and he was behind me. It was so foggy. It was kind of dim, and I remember there was a distinct smell of iron in the air. For some reason, I thought somebody was menstruating. And then I went back to camp, and then I thought the guy was behind me. So I just said, I said, "Oh," I called him Big Brother. I was like, "Oh, this Dago," which is like Big Brother.
Yeah.
He carried me because I was just like, "Oh, he carried me." I turned around, he was not there. I turned around, he was not there, and then he's sitting all the way in the front, and he was making tea. And then he said he was already eliminated. And then they said that, "Oh, you did very well. It was just you." And then
Wow.
I was so I at that moment I felt chills up my body. I was so scared because I to this day I knew it in my heart. I didn't win. Like I didn't manage to get that many people. I was carried. And then so it's just I don't know. It felt very weird. And after that
Maybe
I
like
Wow.
maybe you have a sub persona in you that comes out that when you're scared or when you're
No, but like
playing.
I wish that was the case, like a Japanese anime kind of Shujinko type of energy. But no, it's because those areas are notorious for ghosts because they're abandoned villages that used to be,
Hmm.
inhabited by war veterans. And then so people had stories of these aberrations,
Ghost
joining them
shooting
in
them
their
with BB
match.
guns.
Yeah, yeah.
Ghost
It's
sleeping.
man, but yeah, that since that
But yeah,
event.
sorry, but it's just so. Well, that's like
If you think
It just
about it,
sounds
yeah,
crazy. Sorry.
it wouldn't make sense if they used BB guns. They would have used actual rifles. But
Yeah. But I have a ghost story too, but another episode.
we should have a ghost
Uh,
story episode.
for
I
Halloween
have
or
a story
something.
as well.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
wait. We're off tracking again. Let's go back to sports. Um,
Speaking of sports, I wanted
yeah,
to ask you guys something because
yeah.
uh you know I'm a kid that never really had to quote unquote prove my masculinity. It
Mhm.
never was a thing for me to worry about. I never worried that, oh, I'm not manly enough. But my friend, the guy that I told you about who teaches mixed martial arts, like now he's studying in Amsterdam, and then on his spare time he would go and teach at a dojo, like he would teach kickboxing, and then he would just say that there is this something that he noticed with a lot of Europeans is there is this weirdness where because he's Asian, right? So he's smaller, but he's very fit, but he's obviously shorter than the average Dutchman. And
Mhm.
a lot of guys in those kickboxing environments, they don't respect you, and if you're a newcomer, they will, even if you're just sparring, you're supposed to go light, right? You're supposed to just focus on your techniques, you're supposed to land hits as opposed to actually punching somebody. And he would tell me that because people thought he was a beginner, they would just they would go all out on him. They would hit really hard, only to find out that because this guy, my friend was a not champion but second place in my country in a national match. He's really good, and so he would have to fight back and then punch them really hard. So much so that
Good.
yeah, but so much so that it concusses these other students a little bit, and he felt very
Good.
yeah, but he felt very bad. He was just like, why does it feel like because it's his first time in Europe, whereas in Asia, a lot of the fighters that he came across, they were very skilled, were, British people, were other Dutch people that were in Asia. And he also fought a bunch of Southeast Asians, from Thailand. These are all really skilled fighters, but they would never
They
bully
have
you.
respect.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
would never bully you just because you're a beginner. Whereas in two of the classrooms he had taught in Amsterdam, he noticed that there are these people that in general that anyone who's there would bully the beginner, and then and then they would
Small
say,
dick energy, man. It's small dick energy.
yeah, but why does he felt like
Yeah.
why does it why do these men have to like try to assert their dominance all the time, even though it's
Because
in
they're
a
insecure about themselves. So they feel like they have to keep proving their
that,
worth, like
that's
yeah,
kind of
they feel like
sick.
they have to keep it is
Sounds
though. It is.
Did you
sounds
guys
like probably the most
Well,
plausible.
did you guys come across any type of this, I guess, quote unquote, negative masculinity in other sports?
Thankfully,
Hmm.
no.
Yeah, it's not very common, I hope.
I guess it depends on how
Maybe a little
competitive the
bit.
sport is.
Do you guys ever felt like you need to prove your own masculinity over another person in a sports match or practice?
In
In
a
a
wrestling
sports
match, yeah,
match,
I need to
no.
dominate the enemy wrestler. I need to pin them down.
Man,
But it's true. That's what you do in wrestling.
I have a terrible confession to make. Like when we were children, so to people listening to this podcast, us millennials didn't have the luxury of instantaneous pornography, right? Like we didn't have that luxury. I had to wait for JPEGs to load on my fucking PSP to see something nice, and then so my and but because for some reason like these porn sites load really slowly, so I couldn't really do anything with them. So I remembered as a kid, I was 12 or 13, I would watch wrestling matches of high schools, and I just watch these people in their tights and then they just wrestle, and that to me was my entertainment.
um, okay, a bit off topic, but I would just turn safe search off on Google and type like big tits. But then there will be birds. Like, there is a bird called a tit.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
So
man.
instead of naked women, there will be just pictures of birds coming up, and I'll be like, "What the
And that's how
Uh,
you became a bird watcher. Well,
hell?"
Dan,
No.
how did you look for these kind of naughty stuff? It's a kind of sport when you think about it.
when I was the first time we tried to do something like that, I was a child. So I was like, how do I find a website that has naked women? And I was like, I thought about different website names, and I was like, it must be www.sex.com. And I
I think I tried
tried
that.
that, and I think it worked. I think something came up for sure. But I
Yeah,
don't even remember what.
I remember it
Yeah.
was some kind of domain like that was pre-purchased, so it had
Mm.
something, but it was waiting to be bought. Oh, that was
Yeah.
so messed up. Oh, the lengths we
Actually,
had to go.
actually, you could consider sex as a sport because it burns calories. Your heart rates go up. You start sweating.
I am actually
Do
curious.
you disagree?
I'm actually curious, like how many calories would you burn in a session?
It depends on if you're on top or below.
I've heard not that much apparently.
I don't know, but it depends also on the
But humans
movement
are
we're
really
doing.
efficient.
Yeah.
It's hard to burn extra calories.
That fucking sucks, man. Like I would always because you watch the footage of all these other animals, like do you guys see one where I think it was a monkey, and the monkey was a lot smaller than the human being, but it was able to just lift you up with one arm. Like literally they just have so much more muscular density that like so when you
Like
Wait,
say
what? A monkey
lift
lifting a
them
full
up.
ass human
so it
with
was
one
a
No, I
arm. Are
think
you sure about that?
no, it was a
no, I
human.
think you meant.
No. It was a
Go ahead,
human.
sorry.
It was a human trainer, and he was playing with his
Uh huh.
monkey, and then that monkey, I don't know if it was a monkey or a chimp, but a monkey's about a quarter of his size because it's on the it's on his on its fours, and it would just with one single arm, it would just lift up his trainer and just like pull him up to the platform like it was nothing, and then that there was a time where
Yeah,
I yeah
but there is a counterweight, right? The monkey was holding on to something else, right?
the platform. One of his arms is,
I mean,
but in any
They
case,
are
the
really strong.
yeah, in any case, like it was a shock, like because Dan was saying that human beings are built to be efficient. We are, we're built to last long when it comes to running. These
Yeah, like
cardiovascular
I've
exercise.
read that apparently our hunting technique is really
I know.
very primitive. You
Yeah.
just run after the prey, and eventually they'll get tired faster than us. You're like a very, very basic NPC enemy.
Oh man, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
Just beeline to the enemy until it can't run anymore.
Bethesda enemy basically. just Bethesda style, Skyrim style, walk towards the enemy until they get tired and then melee them to death.
that pretty
Yeah,
much was it,
exactly.
yeah. And human beings, like primitive human beings, that they were hunters, had a significantly better spatial memory. That's so much so that they, when they go into the forest, they actually know their bearings. They know where things are. And there was a very cool documentary where it showcases temporal visual memory of a chimpanzee that if you put it on the screen and a bunch of dots appear in certain order, and then you need to order them, you need to click on them based on the
Yeah,
order they appeared, and these chimpanzees can nail it like to get like 8 out of 10 times
I've
with
seen those videos. They
right.
they they look so mundane, like a cashier, like charging you for your bread,
Yeah,
just
the
sitting there casually clicking away.
man, it was
That's
yeah, it
crazy.
was a Japanese research. I think it was at a Japanese university. But yeah, we kind of lost that ability. Like we used to have this insane tracking skill. So it was in addition to that. I'm pretty sure like we chased animals down, but we would never reveal ourselves to get into like a front on conflict. We were kind of just
Yeah, actually,
stalkers.
Mm.
regarding that, would you say that? Do you remember the earlier games like Doom and Quake and stuff, where there was no minimap, where you
Yeah.
kind of have
Yeah,
to remember where the keys are, where the doors are?
Oh
Would you
yeah,
say that that helped you build on your memory as well,
definitely. Look at
mm.
all the
your
freaking
memory
Ubisoft
retention
games
skills?
nowadays. Like it's all just quest
Yeah,
marks and blah blah blah. Like I
I
remember the
guess
good old
so.
days. Like Fallout New Vegas as well. Like you would have limited quest markers and you need to find stuff.
yeah. Anyway, where are we on time?
Oh, it's nearly over. So 1 hour 20 minutes. Oh,
Okay.
24. So we have 5 minutes left.
All right. So Is there anything else about sports you'd like to? I mean, okay, what are you doing now? Like for me, for example, mostly it's when the equipment is available, I go to the gym. In the past, I used to work out like the bro splits, Monday arms, Tuesday legs,
Yeah.
Thursday back and chest, and then one day rest. But these days, I only go like twice a week to the gym when I do have access to it. And then I'll just do like a full body exercise. Recently, I started doing like this 1,000 steps a day challenge. I've been losing, but but
Losing weight or
1,000 or
losing to the
10,000?
sorry, 10,000.
yeah, 1,000 is not that difficult.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm at 10,000. Sorry about that. But there's this caveat where um, the winner, the one that has more steps in the week, we want to try to hit a minimum of 10,000, and then if you can go more, you get more. And basically, at the end of the week, the person that gets more steps in gets to make a request. Of course, nothing crazy like, oh, kill this person for me or whatever like that. But like something genuinely possible that is not gonna make the other person uncomfortable,
That would be a
Yeah.
very bad idea to do
Yeah,
with
like
me because I can only think of requests that would make people uncomfortable. In fact, it would be challenging for me to come
Jimmy,
up
like,
with
have sex with me right now.
no, come on, that's too much.
I
No,
want to put my
no,
And
I
then
would.
sit there and stare at them and say, of course you can decline if you're not comfortable.
exactly. You put the disclaimer.
No, man,
I guess we gotta have a couple of stuff to censor this episode.
oh man, I would do so. I did do something similar. Like I remembered my friend was taking me to the gym, and then we would have little competitions, and then whoever did the most back to back sets. So like if I do a pull up, I would immediately finish a pull up set and then immediately go to a deadlift. So if you do many
Mhm.
back to back sets, you would really tire yourself out. Like I always puke after
It's like a cardio.
That
no,
sounds like CrossFit.
it's
Isn't it?
strength training with cardio, I guess, because it's
Yeah.
but yeah, I would finish that and then I would torture him by because we were smoking a lot of weed. Oh, can I say that? I think we can, yeah. Weed is recreational in the country we were. So
Depending on where you are. So let's just censor it like at some point. We were
okay.
smoking a lot of
By the way, all these stories are our imagination and they're
Yeah,
not true.
it's purely
it's not
fictional.
Okay, I
indicative of
fixed
what
it.
we do in our free time or who we are.
No, but we were in Thailand, so it was completely okay.
Okay.
And I got myself
Imaginary Thailand. Because
yeah.
don't forget, this is an entertainment podcast. That means we're coming up with stories to entertain people, not necessarily the truth, right, guys?
Right.
Yes.
Yes,
Exactly.
indeed. So I was the winner. I got the choice to choose the dankest kush. I would find the best thing, and we would order in a bunch of food afterwards. So it's like a big, like a big bro sesh, and you get to enjoy yourselves and then feast on like amazing Thai cuisine. But the caveat was I had a really phallic bong. You could only smoke from the bong, and he was such a toxic guy that he refuses to suckle on from the tip of the bong, and so he didn't get to
To be
smoke.
fair, I probably won't feel comfortable, but I think I just don't give a fuck after a while.
Come on, it
Jamie,
was
did you hold it?
Especially if you're standing there looking like staring intensively.
no, but I think it was because it was a group of us. Like, so there were women in the group. We're all just a group of friends, and then so I think he was embarrassed to like show that side, embarrassed to do that in front of women. And I was just like, no, on the contrary, that turns women on. What are you talking about? And all the girls really enjoyed
Really?
it. We had a I think it was a 30-inch massive glass a phallic bong. It had veins and everything, and it was really nice.
I mean, I'm not an expert, but I think women
30
also
inch?
like a lot of stories about the guy on guy action.
Do they?
Yaoi, the yaoi.
Yeah, there's a lot of
I'm sitting here in
Asian.
the background doubting everything.
No, but
There's a lot
honestly,
of Asian, especially in the Asian area. There's a lot of boys' love stories. In fact, let me ask a friend. Hey, friend, do women? Is you're from an European culture background? Do women are women interested in like boys' love stories and gay doings? Isn't that
they would if they're vampires.
in Europe? It's not really a thing. She said.
What if they're
Yeah,
vampires
that's
and a
what I feel like.
werewolf? And what if they also love a what if they also have a common love interest who is a girl? They kind of just have this homoerotic rivalry going on.
Do you mean Twilight?
Kind of like that. Hey, I have to say, from our era, people often talk about how mainstream media is catered towards men. That is not true. Like we had Vampire Diaries, Twilight, we had all these gothic, love story. It like a lot of these millennial young girls that are well, they're not young anymore, but if they're millennials, but they were really turned on by the fact that men are fighting over for you. So any
Do you
premise.
agree or disagree? Oh, all right. Yeah, she agrees with that.
Well, I mean, that is one of the biggest genres. Like 50 Shades of Grey is another that came late. But yeah, it's power fantasy. It's the fantasy of being sought after. I don't know. That's an interesting thing we need to talk about because we should have an episode about eroticism, like what would be attractive, what would turn you on as a story. And I feel like I wager that the both of you wouldn't really be into, wouldn't really feel, aroused by stories. It's more for most guys, it's visual,
Yeah,
right?
Mm.
but yeah, that is true. Most guys are more like visual. Like our arousal like spikes up real quick, and then you have your plateau,
Yeah,
and
this
then you
same
shoot
for
your shot,
me.
and then it's done, right?
It's just if you like what you see, then we're simple creatures.
I like what I see.
Oh, all right, man. Should we conclude? I think we keep. This is one of the worst cases of tangents that we've gone on. But yeah, should we?
But we keep pulling ourselves back, though. We keep pulling ourselves back to sports, and
Yes,
and
Yeah.
technically, physical intimacy it can also be considered sports. So
it can. I think.
yeah.
Nah, I don't
Oh
think so, but I think it's great that we allow ourselves to tangent.
Well,
yeah.
Dan, I can show you some Japanese pornos where you would be convinced otherwise. Like it really can be a sport.
And also technically, if you pick them up, wouldn't that be anstrengend? Wouldn't
Lifting.
that be physically exhausting?
Yes, it would. Okay. You convinced
Yeah.
me.
And
That,
and
that's
and
a
doesn't your lower back hurts when you're too rough?
that,
Like it's
that is a fantasy I never got to enjoy. I'm always the smaller guy. I never get to pick somebody up. I feel that feels unfair.
Oh,
well, depending on what you're engaging in, sometimes you have to do quite a lot of squats.
Me?
I
Bernard is
don't
so
know.
happy about this.
No, it's
I feel like we've
it's
activated something in Bernard.
a little embarrassing to talk about.
Hey, it's not even springtime yet. You got to hold your horses. But yeah, what do you guys feel like?
What are you talking about?
Okay, what do you guys feel like talking about next time? Hopefully something less
um,
sexual. I feel like there's a lot of sex talk to the couple of episodes we've done so
We
far.
do steer towards it quite a lot.
Man.
do we? Are we done?
Bernard.
Oh no. What is
Sorry.
the
No, it's all right.
the screws are
Anyway.
loose.
Whew.
Okay, well,
Oh
Benny,
boy.
what do
Yeah.
you guys think about because I do feel like inviting people onto the pod and we talk about something more female oriented. I think that would be
What
interesting.
what 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 did we say last time? We what if we each bring a female or maybe whoever,
That sounds
how
like such
many
a
we
weird
would like.
challenge. No, but we could just get one
No,
woman on the on the podcast.
no. But what I mean is, what if we each get a lady or a person, and ask them? Didn't we talk about this? Like, what do they think that guys don't know about that guys should know more of?
Oh
Because
yes.
Yeah,
I
I
had a
remember
recent
that.
conversation with one of my team members about female contraception.
Oh yes.
I mean, just contraception in general. And for
Mhm.
us guys, we only know about like the condom and vasectomy, right?
Did you guys
Yeah,
know there's a female condom?
I
I've heard
knew
about
about
it.
it, but I never seen it in action. I think I only heard about it like twice in my whole life, or three times maybe max.
Yeah, what if it gets
But there's
lost in
Mm.
there
also
though? That's I don't know. It sounds like a lot of work. Anyway, we need to bring on a millennial woman with class and with obviously with enough courage to talk about this.
would you be down?
I know someone I could ask.
Yeah, okay.
I know someone I can
Okay,
ask.
I know at least one person who would be down. But
I'll have to
then
look.
yeah. Oh, hold on. We can do this. We can discuss this logistics after the recording stop.
Indeed.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I look forward to that, listeners, if there is one.
Yeah.
Actually, we're doing not bad. We got like 8 viewers, I think.
Hey,
Almost 10.
that's
Yeah, that's like
progress.
milestones, right? Step by step. Rome wasn't built in a day. Anyway, outro. Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you guys for listening. I hope you had fun. I had the giggles today, so for me it was fun. If you like what you're listening to and would like to support us, I think we set up a Patreon. It's gonna be in the link is gonna be in the description. You don't have to, but we of course appreciate it if you do. Would like to throw a penny our way. Any closing remarks from you guys?
Oh yes, so supporters can send in questions and make suggestions. So in case you're interested, that you want us to answer some of your questions, we're not licensed
Which
therapies,
we
but
will politely decline.
no, but we'll
No,
just
I'm just joking.
expect irresponsible answers. But if you like, you can do so with our Patreon. And yeah, that's it.
I'm not gonna answer you if you ask me like, "What's your bank PIN number?" Okay, like let's be real. Like, come on. Yeah.
I can hear the
Anyway,
giggle in you. Like I can see how your face looks like now just by how you talk, and it's I'm so jealous. The joy.
bro, you said I was infuriating before when I was just sending you a voice message.
It was
and I was
infuriating.
giggling.
It was the most infuriating. I was so mad. But yeah. All right, guys.
Why? You should be happy that I'm happy. You
I
shouldn't
am.
be mad that
I
I'm
am.
happy.
It's
A
yeah.
part of Jamie is happy.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for listening. I think this is goodbye.
See you next
Thank you,
time.
everyone. Goodbye.
Ciao.